everybody, how you doing? I want to talk a little bit more about what's going on along the New Madrid, since the 15th is coming up, and we've discussed this a couple of times. I live in Oklahoma, which neighbors Arkansas, on the east side of me. So, in my newspaper, I came across this article, and the largest earthquake in 35 years apparently hit Arkansas, in a place called Greenbrier, which is just a little bit from where my aunt lives in Little Rock. And it goes on to say it was the largest of more than 800 quakes to strike the area since September. And the area is being called the Guy Greenbrier Earthquake Swarm. Now this would be on March the 1st. I believe that was a Tuesday. And on Sunday, the 27th, they had a couple of sounds in my town. About 3 o'clock, one of them, and about 5:30, another one. That was like explosion sound, what it sounded like to me. And I have railroad tracks about 200 yards behind me, and I've heard every kind of noise them things can possibly make, and it wasn't a train. It wasn't any airplane. It didn't sound like a shotgun, and it didn't sound like a car backfire. I figured it was a sonic boom or something. But I tried to find out, and I haven't been able to find any reason that those two explosion sounds went off. But I'm not saying that's related to this, but it was something that I hadn't heard before. So 2 days after that was March the 1st, and that's whenever they had I believe they quoted in here, it was a 4.7 magnitude earthquake they scored it at, and it says it was felt in my state, in Oklahoma, throughout Missouri, Tennessee, and Mississippi. It says the escalation and severity of the quakes in and around small and north central Arkansas has got a lot of people on the edge. Well, that's understandable, of course. I would. Something kind of weird. There's a guy named Scott Osbrooks, he's a seismologist for the Arkansas Geological Survey, said that Sunday's record quake was at the max end of what the scientists expect to happen. Expect to happen. Scientists expect to happen. Basing that judgment on the swarm and others in the past. It's possible that a quake ranging from 5 to 5.5 could occur, but anything greater than that is highly unlikely. So that's what the seismologist there said, that yeah, we were expecting something, and we could have one, slightly bigger than that. But anything bigger than the slightly bigger one, we're not thinking it's going to happen. And he held a town hall meeting and talked to the people. Now there was something in my paper that is related to this. He goes on and said the scientists are studying whether earthquakes and injection wells, where the gas industry drills into the ground, and they use a technique called fracking, whether that can have something to do with moving the earth underneath of there and making it become unstable because of the type of drilling they do. Now, I believe it was Friday's paper yesterday, I believe, related to this, the energy company that has some wells there had said that they're going to shut 2 wells down because wherever those wells are at, they've had 2 recent earthquakes there, a 3.4 and a 3.7. So obviously they're shutting 2 wells down in that area. The name of it escapes me at the moment, but they have some concerns about the type of drilling that it is. It's moving the rock and the plating and stuff like that possibly underneath. And looks like they're shutting it down to play it safe. So they're talking about something that is happening at right now. I mean, 800 quakes in just the last few months, whether they be 1.0 or 4.7. The ground is shaking and trembling and moving underneath of the people and their properties. So the people are starting to ask questions now. What is this, and what is going on, and what are you going to do about it? What I can say is that sometimes you don't pay attention. You feel a little tremble, maybe if you're in an area that they do have them on an annual basis. But whenever you start seeing cracks in your walls, in your sheetrock or some other type of wood, or your driveway, your sidewalk, if you have a concrete front porch, you start seeing damage like that to your house property, like these people are, because it says they are seeing damage to their homes. You begin to take notice, and you begin to see how much money it's going to cost you to fix those cracks and the damage. And when you start counting the money and you got to shell out the green, then you want answers. So March the 15th coming up. Arkansas is trembling. I did not feel anything that day that I can remember. We have them here. We've been having quite a few of them, more than normal. I'm not sure right now off the top of my head exactly how many this year alone. But a little town called Jones, about 80 miles away from me, to my south, they have been having frequent ones, that range in the 2s and the 3s. It seems like I read about 3.6 or 3.4 and 5, somewhere around there, mostly. So when the energy company pulled out, that made me start thinking that they're worried. They don't want their equipment damaged. They don't want their people injured. They want to be liable for damage to property. If they did drill into something that caused damage, they might possibly be liable for. So we're still keeping our eye on our friend 2000PN9 as it approaches in, and whether it be man-made disaster, intentional, accidental, or just space-related, like these things that are coming in throughout their travels. Maybe we play right into each other. It seems to be that way. What we do seems to be affected sometimes by things going on out in space that we have absolutely no control over. It says also here in the first paragraph something that kind of you might want to think about. It says they've been plagued for months by hundreds of small earthquakes, and after being woken up by the largest quake to hit the state in 35 years, residents said they're unsettled by the increasing severity and the last 3 words, lack of warning. So is the geological USGS warning these people in time, or can they not read it and put out a warning, or can they read it and they're just not warning? We don't really know, but what we do know we've already been to the website, and I showed you how to get there and see that FEMA put in all those requests for solicitations for items, and it looked to me, and I'm sure it probably looked to you, like with intent to purchase. So they're getting ready for something, and now one of the energy companies with the wells, they pulled 2 wells, shut them down. So they're playing it safe, and it just seems like everyone is looking for something right now, because 800, and if that's since September, well, that's like 160 a month. That's 40 a week. That's a lot. That's like 6 a day. Is that not 40 a month? No, that's 1 a day at least. But anyway, the frequency is increasing. They just had a pretty, little rise in the intensity of it, and I'm going to pray for all the people that live everywhere in the world, for their safety, and that they be strong, and try not to feel like there's nothing you can do, or that you're left out, because any information that I find, I will pass it on as soon as I've looked into it and verified as much as I can that it's right and true. And apparently this looks verifiable here to me from what I've been able to find out. So we still are vigilant, and we're still looking, and all the things that we said before still go. There's no reason to think that they don't yet. So if you live along Arkansas and Oklahoma and all these states along there, try to be safe and watch out for yourself. And I'm working on some more issues for a couple of other videos, and whenever I get them done, I'll put those up as soon as I can. And I just want to thank everyone for being so nice and watching and listening to what I have to say, and I'm trying to put out there as accurate and important stuff as I can find related to what's going on now, what went on before, and what we've got to face in the future. And y'all be safe, and I'll have some new videos up here in just shortly, probably tomorrow. I think I'll have them all done. So we'll talk to y'all later.